Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are jumping straight into a masterclass on AI-powered fundraising and pitch deck preparation. We're going to break down an incredible Q&A session featuring startup founders Alex and Priya as they pick the brain of subject matter expert Dr. Sheikh Mohammed Rafi. If you've been wondering how to actually use AI to completely overhaul your fundraising game, well, you are definitely in the right place.
Right out of the gate, we need to talk about this single, terrifying number, 162 seconds. That is exactly 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Look, audit studies show that this is the average amount of time a venture capitalist is going to spend looking at your pitch deck before deciding whether to trash it or ask for a follow-up call. Just let that sink in for a second.
So the big question you have to ask yourself right now is, can your pitch survive that 162-second filter? A typical VC is getting hammered with over 1,000 pitch decks every single quarter, right? And they invest in literally less than 1% of them. If your core narrative, your unit economics, and your market size aren't immediately crystal clear, you're out. The pressure is on, which is why absolute precision is totally non-negotiable here.
Okay, here's our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to hit 6 key areas: the realities of fundraising, the 4-phase pipeline, AI tools for fundraising, the 12-slide pitch deck, the recursive looping prompt, and finally, mandatory visual design rules. Let's dive in.
Starting us off with Section 1, the realities of fundraising and the modern tech ecosystem.
During the masterclass, founder Alex kicks things off with a super foundational question. Before we even touch a slide deck, how do we actually define fundraising today? Because honestly, a lot of founders fall into the trap of thinking it's just about going out with your hat in your hand, asking wealthy people for cash. But Dr. Rafi completely shatters that idea. He tells Alex, fundraising is not begging for capital. It is the strategic, systematic sale of equity in exchange for high-velocity growth capital, strategic access, and domain expertise. This is a massive mindset shift. Why? Because your entire posture changes. You're no longer a solicitor looking for a handout. You're a business seller offering a slice of your future enterprise value. You're bringing the opportunity to them.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 4-phase pipeline. This is all about a structured process.
So knowing that brutal 162-second review window is staring us down, strategy lead Priya jumps in to ask Dr. Rafi what a structured fundraising pipeline actually looks like. We absolutely cannot just wing this, right? We need a hardcore, disciplined process to beat those 1 in 1,000 odds.
Dr. Rafi explains that you have to treat fundraising like a strict B2B sales pipeline, broken down into 4 distinct phases. Phase 1 is capital readiness, brutally auditing your own metrics to make sure you're actually investable. Phase 2 is target investor mapping, doing the deep research so you aren't wasting time pitching the wrong people. Phase 3 is collateral suite construction. That's building the deck, the financial models, the whole data room. And Phase 4, that's pipeline execution, scoring warm intros, pitching, and getting those term sheets signed. It is a machine.
All right, Section 3, AI tools for fundraising. Let's talk about overcoming the bottlenecks.
Alex brings up a massive pain point here. Founders get completely bogged down in the research and deck building phases. It literally takes months. So the question is, how do we use an AI tech stack to clear these roadblocks so founders can actually focus on pitching?
Dr. Rafi gives us a perfect breakdown, mapping the exact disease to the cure. If you're dealing with information asymmetry, meaning you have no clue what specific VCs actually want, you fire up Perplexity Pro and Claude 3.5 for deep investor profiling. If you're suffering from pipeline drag, spending 40 hours a week on manual spreadsheets, you use Causal AI or Excel AI Copilot to automate those complex financial models. And to fix design failure, because let's face it, ugly decks get trashed, you leverage Gamma or Beautiful.ai and track investor engagement with DocSend heat maps. This stock turns weeks of grueling work into just a few hours.
That brings us to Section 4, the 12-slide pitch deck. Here is your narrative blueprint.
Alex asks what is probably the most famous question in startup history. How many slides do I actually need? And what goes on them to survive that initial 2-minute scan? We need something that works every time.
The gold standard is a bulletproof 12-slide narrative arc. It's not a random checklist, it's a tight story. You open with your title, hook them with a massive problem, and drop your elegant solution. Then you prove the market is big enough, show the product architecture, and explain your business model. Next, you map out your go-to-market strategy. Finally, you neutralize the competition, show off your traction, introduce your killer team, project the financials, and end with a confident ask.
every single piece connects to the next. Up next, Section 5, the recursive looping prompt. This is all about perfecting your AI copy. So Priya chimes in with a really great point. Once you know those 12 slides, you might just ask AI to write them. But how do you stop the AI from sounding like a generic, fluffy robot? How do you get that top-tier, boardroom-ready copy? This is where Dr. Rafi drops the absolute secret sauce of this masterclass, the recursive looping prompt. He explicitly warns against using basic, single-turn prompts like write a market slide. It'll be terrible. Instead, you force the AI to role-play as a highly critical VC. You make it critique its own initial output, attack the weaknesses in your business logic, and refine the text in a continuous loop. You literally have the AI argue with itself until the copy is rock solid.
The difference here is like night and day. Generic one-turn prompts give you fluffy, amateur buzzwords that guarantee a rejection. But VC stress test looping prompts? They give you heavily critiqued, data-backed copy. It proactively handles the exact objections an investor is going to throw at you. This looping technique is a massive competitive advantage for founders.
And our final section, Section 6, mandatory visual design rules.
Look, high-impact visual design isn't about making a pretty art project. Dr. Rafi's production blueprints show that design is a strict operational science. It's about translating complex financials into a story investors can grasp instantly. Because if your deck looks chaotic, an investor automatically assumes your company is chaotic.
So Priya asks the final question. What exact standards separate a messy amateur presentation from a professional one that demands respect? Dr. Rafi lays out 4 absolute laws. First, the 3-second rule. The main point of any slide must be obvious in 3 seconds. Second, the 60-30-10 color rule for perfect contrast. Third, clean sans serif typography. And fourth, please remember this, 0 text walls, under 30 words per slide. If they are reading a novel on your slide, they are completely ignoring your pitch.
I want to leave you with Dr. Rafi's final thought because it perfectly caps off this entire Q&A session. Fundraising is a narrative backed by numbers. AI is an unbelievable tool for research, copywriting, and design, but it is never going to replace your hard data or your passion as a founder. So think about it. Now that you have the AI pipeline and the structural blueprint, are you ready to build a narrative that survives the 16-second test?